Hello, and welcome to Giant Mess, a sloppy sports and entertainment comedy show that covers everything from the New York Giants and the New York Mets to movies, TV, and life lessons, y'all. It's hosted by me. That's the real cinch, Neal Lynch. I am a giant mess. I'm Irish and Italian, more Irish than Italian, as my sunburns will indicate. I graduated from a Catholic high school, but I'm not Catholic. And then I went to a private research university and earned a couple of overpriced degrees and was supposed to be a cross-playing doctor. That's what they pump out at this factory. And instead I became neither. Instead I tell stories. And they're often cringeworthy, they're often TMI, but if I get a little gigs out of you, a little chuck, then mission accomplished. On today's episode, we're going to talk about my latest trip to Block Island. It was a time traveling weekend. I traveled back in time when I was 23, 24. And then time has not treated me well since the weekend. Still hungover. It's like, how long does this last? And it's still good. Still gonna drink. Still gonna drink. Body. No matter how much you scream, no matter how much you bellyache about what I put in you, still gonna put it in you. So buckle up, Buttercup. Lots of great stories from the weekend. And hopefully you can share your stories with me. Hit me up if you had a hell of a weekend and you're paying for it now. With that, let's dive right on in. Let's get it started. I am hurting big time, physically. Not so much emotionally or spiritually. Physical pain going on right now. I just had one hell of a weekend in Block Island. On Block Island, it's an island. You're on it, but you're also in it. And drank like I was 22 years old, 23 years old, and I'm twice that age. So now I'm paying twice the price, which is, feels like I got hit by a truck. I drank Friday and Saturday, and it's now Tuesday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I have not touched a drop of alcohol. I've been hydrating like California raisin in the Mojave Desert, and it's just not taking. My body's rejecting the hydration somehow. The liquid IV, I did 2 of those today. Did 1 yesterday, did 2 of those today. So liquid IV, step up your game. That's for sure. So much water consumed, and still my cankles are so swollen. Got some swole ass cankles, dude. It's insane. It feels like there's sausages about to burst. Like we overstuffed the sausages and they're ripping at the seams. Those are my cankles right now. I guess it's the gout, right? WebMD, where you at? That's the gout, right? At WebMD? Huh? Has to be. And that's been going on for years. I remember back like July 4th weekend, I just went ham as how old was I? 28, probably. Ended up sleeping over someone's house. Not a sexual thing. It was just like, the people who know me know, I don't hook up. I just like to sleep. And so if I'm drunk as a skunk and I'm at a place, doesn't matter where, it could be a dungeon, cave, torture chamber, hell in a cell, doesn't matter. I'm sleeping over there. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not calling a cab or an Uber, not walking home, not stealing a bike, not doing any Grand Theft Auto shit. I'm going to get my slumber on pretty hard, wherever. Doesn't need to be on anything soft or cushiony. Doesn't need to offer me any support. I just need to be on the ground. I'm convinced that you could probably throw me out of a plane high enough in the sky and I'd sleep a good 8, 9, 10 hours. Give me a long enough fall. I don't even need ground, really. Anyway, yeah, the cankles are in full effect. I've had a headache for 3 days straight. I'm surprised my shoulder hasn't completely fallen off, completely just peeled itself off of my body and ran away. I just took the next midnight train to Georgia. I can't believe how hard I was trying to throw a football and how soft it was going. Just like, and it made a reference to the youngins, because there were youngins at this Block Island trip that were half my age, and I tried to keep up with them, and that is a mistake. You'd think the old grizzled vet would know better with all that experience, but nope. I decided that I was going to try and keep up. And for the most part, I think I did, but it's not about the stamina during the day, throughout the night. I would have tried to go toe to toe, head to head, neck and neck with them, after dinner, go out to the bars. But I think they made a break for it. They're like, no, you go back with the other senior citizens to the retirement home, and we're going to go out and be young and dumb and full of cum. And yeah, so I throwing the football so hard, and I made a reference to Chad Pennington because I was like, Chad Pennington had a horrific arm, but he was accurate and he threw spirals. And they didn't get that because Chad Pennington was popular in 99, 2000. That's when they were born. That was probably before they were born, which drives me through the wall, down the street, make a left to the insane asylum. So yeah, this Block Island trip, it took a lot out of me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm to the point where I don't really remember work on Monday. I was like, I just put any call or meeting I had. It was like camera off, audio off, mic off. I know it's a one-on-one, but the mic is off and the camera's off. And I'm going to push every meeting to the next day because when I try to speak, I can't speak. Like the words are appearing in my head and the thoughts are there. Maybe they're a little scrambled, maybe they're a little jammed up, but I know what I want to get to in terms of a conversation or a point or message. And by the time that message reaches my mouth, been lost in translation. It cannot be decoded. It's Crypt City, Tales from the Crypt. So I'm just so banged up. The shoulder, though, I mean, I can't believe how hard I'm throwing the ball. And spirals, too, which I was impressed with. Normally I don't throw a lot of spirals. And I think everyone noticed that. And they really were appreciative of that fact that I was just spiraling. My life is spiraling, and the footballs I throw spiral as well. So, but my shoulder the next day, I couldn't lift my arm. And you might say, well, Sunday, lazy Sunday. Yeah, I get it. Fat Sunday. Fat kid Sunday. I get it. Yeah, you don't have to do much on a Sunday. It hurt to drive a car, not a golf ball, a car. It hurt to drive the car. Like that was just, hey, put your hands at 10 and 2. How about I put my hands at 7 and 5? How does that sound? How do I put a hand at 6? How does that sound? Yeah. The drive up there wasn't too bad. Although the Merritt Parkway, fuck that road, dude. I mean, if I had a death wish, hell yeah, brother. But it's a death race. And so for anyone, I don't think there's anyone outside the New York metropolitan area that listens to this or watches this. But whoa, dude. If you're not familiar, Merritt Parkway is a 2-lane highway that runs from pretty much right around New York City through Connecticut into Rhode Island, towards Rhode Island. And it's not straight for the most part, pretty windy, and there is zero room for error. So there's like hardly any shoulder area. It's like brick wall and then, gas station. Like, yeah, there's no breakdown lane or anything like that. And so if there's a crash or something, I mean, you're just so tremendously fucked. You're basically just might as well just get out of the car, abandon the car, and live in the woods for the rest of your life. But fortunately, I don't think I've ever had that happen to me. I'm sure I've been backed up there, but yeah, I don't know why Waze took me that way. Well, first of all, Waze, I don't know why I did this, but that I get excited when there are new movies that come out for Brie to watch because when you're young, you can watch the same movie all day on loop, for years, and it will be just as enjoyable as the first time you watch it. It's just that warm, comfortable hug, that warm blanket. I got to a certain age where it's like I got really hyper about it at one point, and I think that's what led to the divorce. No. Where I was just like, I can't watch something that I've already watched before. Like it's the list of things that I can watch again, not very much. It's not a long list at all. But so Sea Beast is this new animated movie that came out on Netflix. And I don't know why I got excited. I saw it has great reviews and I was like, all right, sweet. Like I can now hopefully watch this with Brielle. It'll be her first time. It'll be my first time. I'll be into it. I won't be on my phone. And it'll just be a much more enjoyable experience. Well, Waze hopefully everyone knows what Waze is. I mean, if you don't, I don't know. I mean, you just live your life. Who cares if you don't know? But it's like it's an app. Just a navigation app. I think it was bought by Google. And I can't believe how long it's been around. And I just started using it like in the past year or two. Because I remember my uncle on my dad's side, he used to pick me up in Rhode Island when I'd go visit Rhode Island. My grandmother lives in Cranston, which is right outside Providence. And he'd pick me up at the bus station. Ugh. Megabus or Bolt Bus. Good God. Those were the days, brother. Oh boy. You want to talk about a trip? But he'd pick me up and he'd have Waze and he would have like Arnold Schwarzenegger as the voice. And I'd be like, man, this is fucking baller, shot caller. Like, how much did you have to pay for that? He's like, I didn't pay anything. I just activated it. Like, just free. What? Like, I still can't believe it's free to this day. I still can't believe like what all the ways that apps try to monetize and do in-game purchases, in-app purchases, all this other shit. That Waze is just keeping it free. There must be doing something. See, this is the cynic, skeptic in me, the septic in me. I just think that they got to be using our data to sell our identities or something. Like they got to be selling our data to everyone. And that's probably why we're getting all these fucking spam calls about expired warranties. Yikes. Anyway, Sea Beast was something I could activate as a theme. And I was like, all right, cool. You know, it's something different. But I didn't have the sound on for most of the time. Not sure why. I mean, most of the time I'm just driving around Princeton. And I don't really need the sound on or the voice on. So I just saw the boat. So I was like, oh, that's cool. It's instead of a car, of a boat. I feel like I have on the ship. Oh my God. And then I ended up watching the movie with Brie and she loved it. And I liked it a lot. I don't know if I loved it. I liked it. And then so for this trip to Block Island, there came a point where we're in a heat wave. I don't know if you're aware. I don't know when you're listening to this or watching this, but we're in a fucking full-on heat wave, tidal wave of heat pouring over our souls and burning us alive. And so I made the mistake of getting this mobile, I don't even know what you call it, a cell phone holder that I put on the dashboard and not attach the vent, which I think was a mistake because it's, you know, you put it on the dash and then the sun comes through and just breaks your dash, breaks it. And in a nice souffle, and this thing that's supposed to stick to my dash it just like gives up and faints and passes out and falls off the dash just about every day, but especially in this heat wave. And you know, I'm not holding the phone, so I don't know what the temperature is on the phone, but all of a sudden you're like, you know, you're on the Merritt Parkway going 70 or 80 because there's someone up your anus. Like, bro, where are you going? There's nowhere to go. Like if you have an Inspector Gadget mobile type vehicle or like I don't know, Batmobile's got this kind of functionality where it goes on stilts, like the shocks and suspensions just extend up and you extend up and then you can go over. I forget what that's from. Not the Flintstones, not the Jetsons. Definitely had to be a cartoon. But the temperature in the iPhone gets too high and it's just like night. There's just zero warning. It's just like phone too hot, shutting down. It's like, oh, fuck. Now I have no idea where I'm going. I don't have a map. You know, there's like that panic that sets in. But so what I had to do was I take the iPhone out of the holder and I have to put it in the shadows, the shade down below. So I can't really see where I'm going on the navigation app, but I can put the alerts on or the sound on. So for everything that's happening, you know, I can have the sound on. So I had the Sea Beast theme and I didn't know it threw me for a loop the first time there was like some kind of alert. You know, it was like a little girl's voice, first of all, which I completely forgot that there was the girl's voice in the Sea Beast movie. I was just in it like, I was like, oh, there's a girl in the car, or like there's a girl on the podcast. Like I'm listening to the Always Sunny podcast. How is there is their daughter on the pod and talking about hazards on the road? It took me a hot minute realized, no, idiot, it's the Sea Beast theme. She's talking to you. But I got a lot of this over the course of the 4-hour trip up there. Hazard ahead, could be a beast, could be a pothole. Keep your hands on the wheel, Captain. And I was like, oh, that's cute. That's a cute little thing. And then by the time I was got to Narragansett, I was like full on screaming that because I was so excited every time it came on. Just like, hazard ahead, could be a beast, could be a butthole. Keep your hands on the wheel, Captain. Like I felt like a captain. I felt like I was chasing down a sea beast, Moby Dick, trying to harpoon some shit. And yeah, so that was cool. Trying to get these trips to Block Island, they take a lot out of you, not just when you're there, but like getting there and back. Like, okay, so I had Brie on Thursday. I had to drop her off my daughter. I had to drop her off at school on Friday morning. And she, like I said in previous episodes, she's got too much shit. I don't understand why these 3-year-olds need all this shit. They just, like, oh, you need your bunny and you need your other bunny. Okay. And you need your stuffed shark and you need this tiny little plastic toy. Okay. And then you need these papers, right? Got it. Big business meeting you have today. I know all about it. You need your water, you need your lunch, you need to label all that, you need all your clothes, and you need your knapsack, and you need this and that because mommy's gonna pick you up today, so you can't forget anything, because if you forget anything, I'm not gonna be here. And there's no key that I left behind for mommy to go in and get whatever you need. So I decided to bring a bottle of Terramana tequila from Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Oh, his name should be Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Why does he Johnson? I don't know. And watermelon, because I'm on a watermelon kick, and I thought I could, I'm usually the guy that doesn't bring anything, and everyone's like, oh, you're a bum. You're a little bum. You're a dirty bum. So I'm like, all right, I'll bring some food and some booze, and maybe that'll be nice, even though the hosts of this, the Block Island house that I go to, are just couldn't be any more generous. Don't ask for a thing, and just I'm overserved at all times, and it's just it's beautiful. But I do feel a little like guilty, like I can't imagine what my tab looks like. So, but I did play Mega Millions today at the request of my mother. $20 quick pick with a mega plier. So we added a 10 spot on top of that. So hopefully I can pay off my tab. But I brought tequila and watermelon, and then I packed. And like when I pack, I get the equivalent of meat sweats without having eaten the meat. So I get very nervous and anxious because, my buddy's wife works in fashion and just rips. I have so many assholes from her. She's ripped me so many an a-hole over the years. I'm covered in a-holes at this point because she's ripped so many and ripped so many new ones. So overpack like an idiot. And then I overpack so much for certain things that I completely forget about, like necessities or like just basic shit. So yeah, it was a little bit hectic trying to get out the door in the morning and making sure, because it was a 1:30 ferry. And I guess this is how stupid I can be. It's a 1:30 ferry. It's $12. If you miss it, there's another one in 2 hours, and you pay another $12. Like you're out $12. Like you miss this ferry, it's fine. You're not missing a flight. It's fine. It's fine. But I ended up stopping for gas and going in and grabbing a huge bottle of Essentia water, which I've never felt more pretentious in my life, buying a bottle of Essentia water. It's like, and the only reason I bought it, no lie, volume. It was the right amount of volume for it to fit in one hand. While I drive, I can drink and drive. This is the acceptable drinking and driving. I think you're allowed to drink water while you drive. Maybe I'm wrong, but the next volume up, the next size up is like I would need two hands. I would need a spotter to get that up in my mouth. So I was like, this is the biggest bottle that I can hold in one hand. We're doing it. I know it's got a ridiculous name, but we'll just roll with it. And if people have a problem with that, I got an explanation, locked and loaded. And I got a coffee. And I didn't eat any breakfast because I was like, the amount of things I'm going to put in my body this weekend, I don't think I need to add to it and in order to get that ball rolling just yet, because I'm going to be rolling by the end of the weekend. So I drink my coffee. It's good. It's good. It's good. I try to open the bottle while driving. Stupid move. And I somehow open it and quickly, I've been squeezing it. Apparently I was squeezing it too hard with one hand while I was trying to unscrew it with the other hand. And it just, when it did open, went all over my crotchal region, my crotch. And a little bit on the little tum-tum there in the chest. So it looked like I pissed and drooled on myself, which thank God it happened at the beginning of the trip, because if that happens at the tail end and I have to get on the ferry, it's like, sir, they got to like consult with each other and team me up. Like, this dude just pissed himself. He's drooling on himself. I don't know, dude. What's our policy on that? I don't smell any alcohol. Do you smell any alcohol? Maybe he's high. Well, I don't smell any weed. So luckily it was at the beginning of the trip, and it had managed to dry in the 4 hours and 20 minutes that it took me to get up there. But it's a 1:30 ferry, and I left Brielle school at like 8:30-ish, 8:38. And, had to make a last minute stop right down the street from the ferry, or, right down the main highway to the ferry to pick up some items, and also to pee, because I had a full on essential bottle sloshing around the bladder there, along with a coffee. And so I barely made that ferry. I don't know. It was like you're supposed to be there half an hour early. It was the traditional ferry. So basically the traditional ferry takes an hour. It's a 13, I guess is it 13 miles? That can't be right. Well, it goes 16 knots. So that's like close to 13 miles per hour, because it takes an hour to get there on the ferry, the traditional ferry. And that's only because you have all these cars that come on the ferry. People can take their cars on the ferry. I think they can fit like a dozen or more cars. So I took the traditional ferry. I don't know why. It's just like, I think it just like, because if I took the 1 o'clock high speed, would not have made it straight up. It would have missed it. And it's like, there's another one an hour or two later. I get it. But that's the amount, $25. So I took the traditional ferry. There was one time I went over the winter where the weather was so bad. It was January, February. It was like the water was so turbulent and rocky, and there was wind, and they just straight up canceled all the ferries. So we had to last minute scurry to the airport. There's an airport called I guess I don't know what the fuck it's called, but New England Airlines is the airline. And my buddy's like, just go right now. There's a flight at 1:30. Just go. You're gonna make it. You're getting on that flight. You're gonna be fine. I'm like, dude, it is 1:15. How the fuck am I gonna get on a flight when it takes me 10 minutes to get there, and the flight's in 15 minutes? What kind of operation are they running over there? So, of course, I floor it over there, and I get there with 5 minutes to spare. I walk in, and my other two friends are there, and they were always, taking the airplane, no problem, the flight. And I walk up to the front desk, and I'm like, this is pointless. No way they're letting me on. I'm like, hi, I'd like to get on your 1:30 flight. I'd like a ticket for your 1:30 flight that's in, 4 minutes now. She's like, She looks me head to toe, up and down, measures me, ocular pat down, and goes, how much you weigh? And I was just like, oh my God. Oh no. Am I going to be too fat to fly? Because like, these planes are not 747s. They're very small engine planes. 2-engine planes. I don't even know. Single engine plane. There's a propeller on the front of the plane. That's how small the planes are. And they seat, I think, 6 people, like one next to the pilot, 2 or 3 in the first row, 2 or 3 in the second row, 2 or 3 in the third row. So that's like 9, 10, like maybe a dozen people at most, I think. Like, it's just, and they have to this is where it gets a little scary, is they literally do have to weigh everyone. Like, they can't exceed a certain weight. And they also need to strategically sit people based on their weight. So they're like, how much do you weigh? And I was like, this is probably not a good time to lie, because I don't want to. Yeah. And I think they actually had me get on a scale, because they're like we can't put you on the honor system for this one, buddy, because there are lives at stake. So hop on the scale. And I just made it barely, but they had me sit towards the front, because if they put me in the back, I guess it would weigh down the tail. And plus they have the luggage back there. So. But man, what a rush that is, because you've heard the expression like lawnmower with wings. Bingo, bango, bongo. Like, that was this to a T. And but it was exhilarating, because you're looking at this guy, this pilot, and he's flicking things, and he's pushing buttons and flicking things, and things are not working. Like, he has to flick things a couple times, and it's shut down, and it's stalled, and he has to rev back it up. And I'm like, how the fuck are we getting in the air? How the fuck are we getting in the air? Just don't. If you asked me to put a bet on it, I would have lost, obviously, because I would have been like, no shot, we're getting in the air. And of course, we did fairly easily. But there was like 2 or 3 moments where it was like a gust of wind can just turn us into a barrel roll into, we're going down, call your loved ones. And no, it turned out to be great, and it's so much quicker. I mean, it's 12 minutes, which I would do if I were rich. I would do that every single time. Are you kidding me? I can show up like 5 minutes beforehand, hand someone my bag, get on the plane, and be at destination in 12 minutes, as opposed to I gotta sit on a effing ferry in the blazing hot sun and get burnt while I have to listen to this woman with such an annoying voice peppering her husband with questions, and the husband's not answering. And that was the traditional ferry over. It was like, you have the gamut. You have the wide gamut array of people on the traditional ferry, which I appreciate. Diversity, inclusion, I'm all about it. And it makes for good stories like this. So, I do make the ferry barely, and I get on, and I actually do find a seat in the shade, but I'm by myself, and of course I'm sitting. The only spot is like behind this jacked dude, super jacked dude with humongous arms that has his arms up, and he's leaning back and his arms are up. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm not leaning back, and no back support. Who cares? My back is basically toast anyway. I'm looking to get a back replacement, a bacchiotomy at some point. So whatever, just, there's no saving it. Might as well just like push it over the finish line. So I'm sitting behind him, and next to him is his not so jacked wife. And I don't even know how to politely put this. Plump, festively plump. That's what I'm going to say. Festively plump wife. Doesn't look like she works out. He does all the working out. He does his line. He carries the load, the lion's share in terms of working out. She does not. And she is just nailing him with questions. Just like, here's one, and I'm going to give you about 3 seconds to answer, and then I'm going to follow up with this one. And then it was almost like talking to my mom. Like, my mom online will fire away questions, just rapid fire, AK-47 automatic weaponry. And sometimes I'll just answer the questions in order, and it will throw her off. And I'm like, well, you asked me 10 questions in a row, and I'm answering those 10 questions as they came in. So this answer corresponds with this question. You don't want to, if you want to keep up with the answers I'm trying to give you, don't fire 17 questions at me in a row. Anyway, that's what this wife was doing to this guy. And the guy would not answer the questions, refused to answer the questions. And I wanted to hop in and just give like sample answers, or just like my best guesses based on the relationship that I think that they have, because it's like, she's just going to keep, and maybe he's like, there's no point in giving answers because she's going to ask the questions anyway. So I'm just going to save my breath. Oh my God. Up a wall. And then I get a call from the friends I'm visiting, and they're like, hey, yeah, we need you to change into, are you wearing your swim trunks? Or swim trunks, they call them. Are you wearing your swim trunks? And I said, no. And they said, well, you need to change in your swim trunks because, our friend's going to pick you up from the ferry and take you right to the beach. So you're not going to get a chance to go home and go back to the house and drop your stuff off before going to the beach. You're going to come straight to the beach. And I'm like, ¿Dónde está el fuego? Like, where's the fire? Why is there a rush? We have most of the afternoon into the evening today. We have Saturday, we have Sunday. Like, there's plenty of time to get turned. Okay. And so I'm like, I'm trying to relax here. This is my day off. Like, I don't need people telling me what to do. Like, I just want to go at my own pace, which is slow as molasses, my friend. And do things my way and enjoy myself. But no, that was just not happening. So I'm like, all right, fine. And I said to them, well, I actually have food with me that I need to get into a fridge. And like, what food did you bring? Like, they're so offended that I would try and be generous for once and try and be a good guest and bring something. And I was like, I brought my watermelon. Like, why would you bring watermelon? It was just like, well, you don't seem like watermelon people, and I like watermelon. I'm on kind of a watermelon kick right now, and I don't want it to go bad because, like, if it goes bad, then this tummy issue that I got is just I might not have a stomach after this weekend. So, and they're like, no, fuck your watermelon. I'm like, all right, cool, thanks a lot. So on this ferry, it's a crowded ferry. So there's this gaggle, this flock, this herd of, I want to say, college age kids, maybe junior, seniors in high school, but maybe freshman, sophomore in college. like just youngins, and they are getting after it big time. Like weed, pot. And so I was like, all right, here we go. So I have to take I'm paranoid because I'm just who I am. I'm paranoid. So I have to bring my luggage. I dig my swimsuit out of the luggage, and I bring my luggage and my tequila and watermelon into the try to go into the men's restroom. And the guys, there's like guards outside, and the one guy's like, oh, we can't go in there. And I was like, what's going on? And like, oh, there's a girl in the stall. And I'm like, oh, okay. Is the women's restroom broken? Like, I like how I'm like, I was trying, I don't know, like all this like, why am I being so fancy? I don't need to be so fancy around all these stoned teenagers. Why am I being fancy? And so I was like, oh, is the women's restroom full? Because I didn't see a line. And he's like, no, it's, or is it broken? Is the women's restroom broken? He said, no, it's full. And I was like, oh, that's weird. There wasn't a line. So I wait. And finally the woman, the lady exits, and she is large and in charge, and very body positive, which is great. That's great. And she goes, oh, sorry. And I was like, I'm walking into sunshine. So by the way, walking on this ferry, I don't know if you've ever tried to walk on a boat before. As it's moving through the high seas, it's not easy if you're not used to it. And I don't think I have my sea legs still to this day, which is crazy because I'm a power bottom. And I got some solid stems, some really good tree trunks for legs that are hideous to look at, but really provide a stable base. Anyway, so I'm stumbling and tripping Gene triple horning into the restroom, trying to keep my balance. And then I got to go in this stall, which looks to the door. Is there any stall door that's not broken? So I walk into the stall, try to lock it. It's like not locking. And there's huge gaps where you can definitely like poke your eyeball through there and just take a full on 360 panoramic view of my balls and my shaft and my Rona. And so I'm trying to get changed and balance myself, not fall in the toilet, as I hear these and they're all like stoned women, these high school college girls that are stoned out of their minds, like trying to use the stall. And I'm like, oh, this is my nightmare. This is my nightmare. Like I'm trying to balance, and they're going to fling open the door because they don't hear me being like occupied. They're going to fling open the door, and I'm beyond turtling at this point. Like I'm like reverse turtling to the point where like I think it's out my bunghole at this point. So, and I'm going to be like shorts around my ankles, like shorts on one ankle, swimsuit on the other ankle, full on like inverted. And they'll never live that down. They'll never, that will go so viral. So, cause they're quick on the trigger with the phone, like they'll have that live stream to Twitch or wherever the fuck in like milliseconds. And I'll be like inverted turtle, Donald Duck or something like, crazy like that. Bottomless invert, incel invert, bottomless, bro. Like, great. Cool. That's how I get famous. Yeah. And then I have to go on Ellen. It's like, oh my God. And then I'm sponsored by Four Loko. But no, luckily I managed to get it on my swimsuit on quickly enough. And then, I go to leave, and the exit's blocked. It's just blocked by stoned women, and they're all just laughing and giggling and like don't give a fuck that I'm trying to live my life, and like blowing fat clouds in my face. Like, and I gotta say, I was jealous. I was just like, to the inability to wait to get fucked up and wasted, and like to have that mentality, like and the youngins that we hung out with at the house. It's my buddy's wife's cousin, who's like graduated college like a year ago or 2 years ago, was in a fraternity, and all his buddies, they're all like 22, 23, 24. It's like can't drink all day unless you start in the morning, and it's like no moment wasted to get wasted. Like they were on it, all about it. I think the friends came in on like an 8-something ferry, like drinks on the ferry, get to the house. We'll set up beer die was like the huge game du jour for the weekend, beer die. I feel like you know how you're getting old? You know, last week or the week before I was like, you know how I'm getting old, and now I know I love getting old. I like pulling up my shorts or my pants to my belly button. It feels good. That's the first sign that like embrace your age. But when you start getting these new drinking games and that you've never heard of before, it's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be trying to be part of this scene anymore. But then I get hooked. You know, it's like I was, it's embarrassing because like their yard, like I said in the previous ep, like the yard at this house is a full on fucking football field. It's 100 yards. And so just watching them with the amount of energy that they had setting up like a table for this beer die game and like smoking beers as they're doing it, I got a little, you know, envious and like I get excited. And I was like a dog pacing, like a dog. I was the dog inside pacing back and forth, wagging my tail while my owners were outside having fun. And I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to run around and chase my tail and bury a bone, you know, all that great stuff. So it was also supposed to be Christmas in July, and I thought that was like an island wide thing. So I brought so many Christmas themed outfits, and I was like, we're gonna play Christmas music, and we're gonna have Christmas drinks and Christmas food and Christmas. And it was like, I found out pretty quickly that no, Christmas in July was like a promotion for a bar on the island, and the plan was to go there, and I sad to say we never went. And this is the place that I don't know if I've talked to you guys about before, but Champlin's, dude. There's a place called Champlin's, and it reminds me of the times that I've gone down to Tampa. Specifically, maybe not specifically Channel Side, but that wherever that Hulk Hogan bar was. I forget the name of it. It's been so long, but it was like there's just water right there. It's on a dock. There's all these boats, and it's like, you know, there's like very high odds that someone's just gonna whisk you away and party on the high seas. It hasn't happened yet, but like it's just nice to know that that option's there, you know. And the crowd is what does it for me. The drinks also do it for me, and they make a mean mudslide that you can get topped off with a floater, and I definitely do. But I mean, I'm full on creeper status at this point. You know, before it was like, well, I'm getting divorced, so I can look and I don't have to feel guilty or ashamed. It's like, how can you not look? Because I mean, holy shit, that woman's butt cheeks are outside of her shorts. They're through her shorts. Sorry, she has assless shorts. I don't know how that happens, but you know, like, you know how you have there was all this terminology when I used to work at a men's blog where it was like side boob and like under boob. This was under, I guess. It was like, how are your butt cheeks are like coming? I can see them through the bottom of your short. Okay. But there's nothing I can do about it. It's just a nice little people show, little people watching that you can do, and there's nothing I can ever do, because you see that. I mean, it's tough when you don't realize when you're immature like I am. And you don't realize that you are 41, and you don't realize that you look like a bag of ass on fire, covered in hair. It's like you still have that mentality when you go out to a bar or you go out to have drinks and you get a couple in the system. You kind of get whisked away back to when you were like in your 20s or your early 30s, when you looked younger and you didn't look like a pedo or anything like that. So, you know, I get caught in that trap where it's like, I'm feeling kind of good. You know, I think I'm looking kind of good, right? And it's like, no, you got a full on gut. You got a double chin. You're balding. You got bags under your eyes. Like you think you might look like you're 31, but you are full 10 years older than that. And you could be someone's father. That's the scariest part, is like the people that are 21 at the bar that could be my kid. I could be their father. But I don't feel like their father. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to get into that whole daddy zaddy thing. That was just like, no thanks. That freaks me out. So, but I do love the people watch, and Champlin's is the place to people watch. Faux show. And they make a great mudslide. So, my favorite place in the island, and they were having Christmas in July, which sounds like such a great thing to celebrate, and we didn't make it over there. Kind of bummed. But yeah, so my friend ended up picking me up at the ferry from the ferry on Friday to backtrack a little bit. He's like, yeah, we're just gonna go back to the house. And that's just how he is. He knows, like, he's not gonna raise a stink in the moment because he's the one that ultimately has to drive the car. Like, they're not gonna go, they're just gonna sit on the beach. So it's like, I'm just gonna pick him up and take him home and it'll be fine. It's gonna cost us maybe 15 minutes. And even if it does cost us half an hour, who cares? We're on the beach, like, we're just sitting in the sun. Like, the sun, we're losing 15 to 30 minutes of sun, which we're in a heat wave, so I don't know that really matters. Which is crazy because despite it being a heat wave, it was still only 83 degrees. Block Island is incredible, dude. I don't know how to pack for it at all, ever. You know, I think the first time I went there was maybe July 4th weekend of last year, and I packed I just packed shorts and tanks and sandals, and it was like 55 degrees. It's like, holy fuck, I'm so cold. Everywhere we went is just cold and rainy. What is happening? That was a cool trip. That was basically my friends had not bought their house yet, and I'd like to say here and now, and they know this, and they've credited me with it, that I helped them get the house that they bought, because they were experiencing some serious issues trying to get and anyone who's ever tried to get a house in a high demand market, it's like you go to an open house and by the time you get there, it's like sold. And like you go to a viewing and it's like, you need to make a cash offer right now or else this is gone. It's like, holy my God. So they were renting a place, and it was not the normal place they rented, but I still loved it. I mean, it's hard to find a beach house that I wouldn't like. It would have to be completely overrun with like garbage and it just smells and just falling apart, and there's no fridge or something. It's just like, it would have to be so poor and bad for me to like shit on it and not appreciate it. So it's like, it's a house at the beach. Like, how do you can't get better than that. But so they weren't huge fans, and they were like, wait till you see downstairs. And I was like, oh, well, do you want me to sleep downstairs? Like, hell no, not if we wouldn't do that to you. We don't want to punish you. And I was like, so I go downstairs, and they were like, yeah, it's like a Chinese internment camp down there, which is just an incredible way to put things. And so I go down there and I'm looking for my buddy, and immediately step in a pile of poop. Not sure if it was human or dog. So that was a good entrance. And then sure enough, I go to try to open any doors, and they're all locked. So my mind immediately went to, okay, this is like the beach version, the middle-class beach version of Parasite. So if you haven't seen Parasite, you have no clue what I'm talking about. If you have seen Parasite, then you have a pretty good idea of what kind of fear was coursing through my veins. Just like there's probably some people that are here, either that are known or unknown, and maybe they're gonna hang out and poke around while we're sleepies. Yeah, so that was interesting. But so I used to have these pants. I don't think I've told this story before. I used to have these pants. My ex-wife, my then wife, who's now my ex-wife, she got me the pants, and they're like a pretty thin, lightweight material. They're not really for winter. They're more like spring and even like maybe summer or fall. Like, they're just very lightweight and thin. And because they're thin and lightweight material, I don't realize that it has a tendency to accentuate certain parts of my body. So it tends to grip, the curves and the mounds and the whatnot, the protrusions. And so I was standing there and I was just having a drink, and they were like, we're going to go over to our family friend's house. They live on the island and they're around, and they invite us over. So we're just going to go over and hang out for like a little bit and just say hi. I'm like, okay. And they're like, whoa, you going to get changed? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, you can't wear those pants. And I was like, what? I mean, like, you're all wearing super casual shit. Like, we're not all wearing, it's not like a black tie affair. It's not like what? Like, we're all wearing normal, like, athleisure. And they're like, well, you're wearing Peen pants. And I was like, Peen pants. Okay. And And they're like, we can full on see your penis. And I was like, what? And I'm looking down, and from my point of view, it's like, okay, there's I'm a man, baby. I got parts. I got man parts, and those man parts, they stick out a little bit. So what do you want me to do about it? And so I was like, all right, so it's, but I mean, whatever. Why? First of all, why are you looking at my penis? Why are you looking at my penis? And they were like, well, you can't not look at it because it is that noticeable that it's sticking out that much. Like, do you have a boner? And I was like, no, I do not have a boner. It's just the pleats. It's an optical illusion. And they're like, well, you're going to have to change it. And I was like, well, I don't have any other, I wasn't expecting 55 degrees. It's July 4th weekend. Like, what is happening? Why is it not 80, 90 degrees? And so I keep the pants on and we go over, and lo and behold, shoot the shit for a little bit. Like a month later, that couple that lives there, older couple, they have older adult kids, was like, we heard that you guys are looking to buy a house. Why don't you just buy our house? And we haven't put it on the market yet, but we'll give it to you for this, crazy discount. And it's just like, so now the theory is that the mature wife noticed the peen, and I mean, yes, I guess you could make out the curvature of the corona. Yes, I guess that's part of it. And the peen pants really sealed the deal and got them the house of their dreams. And because they were stressing out, it was like, we need to buy a house. We need to buy a house on Block Island. Like, okay, you guys are in your early 40s. Like, you have 20 some odd, at least 20 plus years to, I don't know, retire. And like, I mean, the houses that they were looking at were just, and this is what kind of I don't mind renting a beach house. It would drive me kind of crazy to buy a beach house because a lot, especially in the Northeast, in the England area, I guess on the Jersey Shore too, anywhere in the Northeast, these buildings and these houses, I guess New England's more so than the Jersey area, are so old, like falling apart old, like don't have electricity old, like don't have running water old. And yet they're getting like, this is like 3.3 million in that range, no big deal. And so it's just exorbitant and crazy pricing. And for houses where you're like, really? 4 million? Like, we're not even on the beach. So for them to get the house that they did get, I mean, it's a newer house. I don't know if it's a renovation or if it's just a new house, but it seems like it's just a new, straight up new house built in like the 90s. And I'm not talking 1890s, bruh. So they got a steal, and it's all because of my peen pants. And they always thank me. But here's the deal. You can't top that. I landed a 7-figure house because of pants. I retired those pants. I have not worn those pants since. Those pants are in the rafters, I like to say. They were retired. They're hanging in the rafters. We had a ceremony. It was beautiful. I gave a speech. My mother was there. It was fantastic. And but never to be worn again. Those are permanently retired. And now I got to think about, how my peen's looking going forward. It's like I got to wear pants that are more, I guess, not as grippy, tight, probably is the word I'm looking for. Yeah. But lots of fun out in Block Island. All the past trips that we've had have been so much fun. Sleeping through a hurricane. We went to a place called the Atlantic Inn, which is such an awesome place. And we act a fool when we go there because it's like, it's usually after some all day drinking. Like, it's just like all day drinking, and but all dressed up and looking good as a group, and going to the Atlantic Inn and having just an incredible view. There's like a llama farm. Okay, there might be alpacas. I'm not sure. That's cool. And you get to see all the people that are driving by or walking by, and you get to sit in these chairs and look out at the water and the sunset. Just phenomenal stuff. And they have a drink called Fowlers, which is just like a ginormous coffee drink with alcohol. And it's just like, brother, if you don't have heartburn by the end of day one, you're doing it wrong. We did go to one restaurant that was super smelly. Like, it actually smelled like dead whale carcass mixed with shrimp jizz. It was just nasty, and it was hard to get in the appetite going with that going on. But no, I love Block Island. It's just getting there and coming back is just such a pain in the ass. Like coming back, I didn't get home. I took the 3:00 ferry. It got docked at 4, drove to my grandmother's house in Cranston, got there at 5. She ordered so much goddamn food. So much food. Italian grandmother. I was going to make a joke about, I'm Irish and Italian. I say that every intro to this fucking show. And I say I'm Irish Italian, and it's because I'm more Irish than Italian. I feel like if you are 50% Irish, 50% Italian, you could say Irish Italian. If you're more Irish than Italian, you say you're Irish Italian. If you are more Italian than Irish, you're just Italian. No one's saying, no one who's more Italian than Irish is saying, oh yeah, I'm Italian Irish. No, you're not going to say that. You're Italian. Well, she's full on Italian, 100% Cianci. From Sicily, I think. And so it's every time I try to make it an effort to go stop by whenever I go to Block Island to see her, at least for dinner before I head back home. And so she was like, you got to let me know what you want to order so that when you come here, it's ready and we can pick it up and, you can have enough food. And so she's like, I was going to, just get like clam chowder and clam cakes. And I was like, sounds good. And so I was like, let me take a look at the menu, just see if there's anything else. And, just in case, because I don't get to have where I am, it's like the seafood's not as on point as it is in the Rhode Island area for whatever reason. I don't know. So I was like, all right, I'll get a lobster roll. She's like, okay. So I get there. She places the order. She places a quart of clam chowder, a pint of clam chowder, 2 orchard salads, a dozen clam cakes, 2 lobster rolls. Oh, and my friend made some sausage and peppers with corn on the cob and some kind of Italian soup, and then for dessert, and I was like, oh my god, dude, oh my god, brownies and ice cream. Yeah, well, okay. And then my uncle's like, I can get some chocolate syrup, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, why not? Why not? I ended up weighing myself like the day morning after, which was just such a mistake. It was like, oh, I gained 6 pounds in 4 days. Cool. Can't lose a fucking pound in a week, but I can gain 5 or 6 pounds in 2 to 3 days. No problemo. So, oh my God. It's just like never, like, keep eating. Oh, you haven't had this yet? Keep eating. I was like, Nan, I know you love me. The more food you give me, I'm not going to love you more. No. So, but, yeah. So that Friday... You like how I bounce around? I keep it fresh. Friday, we go to the beach, housing drinks on the beach. See a fucking hunormous seal, which I don't think I've ever seen a seal in person. But I did not expect it to be that size. That is, whoa. And like that thing gets eaten by whales? What the hell's a whale looking like? And there are sharks. There's all this talk about sharks in Long Island or wherever. It's Cape Cod. It's just like, maybe I don't need to go in the ocean. So come back from the beach, rinse off, shower up, and then we have some steak with some charred broccoli. And then I might have put my mouth on a pen and flew to Mars, dude. And that was the end of that night. I was referring to my friend's cousin as my client, so that's where my mind was at after partaking in that. Woke up Saturday and it was bagels and cream cheese, nice. And I made the mistake of not toasting the bagel before putting on the cream cheese. So then I put it in the oven and my buddy's like, you should just broil it. And I was like, I've never broiled anything in my life. So I was like, sure. So I pressed broil and I was like, that's a weird setting. Like normally you push bake and you see like 360, 375. It's the temperature. And like I press broil and I see H1. And I'm like, all right, I mean, it's the highest one, I guess. So I won't keep it in that long. That's how we're doing that. And so I go back to him, sit down, and I'm like, he's like, is it on? Are you broiling it? And I was like, yeah, I got it on H1. And he's like, you mean high? It's like, in my defense, never broiled before, but also 2, I had just delivered like the H1, as in the first half of the year report, to my boss at work. So I had the H1 on the brain, on the dome. So that's probably where I was getting that from. And still didn't come out right. I don't know what the hell happened there. But the youngins show up and they immediately get into drinking games. They had been drinking on the ferry, and I was just like, oh, fuck yeah, let's go. Like it's time to relive my youth. My ex-wife is reliving her youth. She's dating her college boyfriend. She's got a Norris Peterson back in. I got to get into that. I got to get back. And so they played this beer die game and it looked amazing. And like I said, it was a dog just going back and forth, wagging my tail, just wanting to be a part of the action. And then I slowly but surely I'd go out on the deck and I'd watch from the deck and I'd go down the stairs and I'd watch from down right at the bottom of the stairs. And then I would kind of walk over to like the chairs in the lawn. I'd kind of like sit in the chairs and then I'd get up from the chair and then I'd walk closer and then like I'd hold the football or play with the wiffle ball bat by myself. And they're like, hey, is you watching us? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, hey guys, what's going on? Yeah. Do you need a line judge? They're like, yeah, sure. And sure enough, I did have to make a couple rulings. And it was tough but fair, you know? That's how I roll. You know, I got ethics. I got morals. I ain't no, what's his name? Tim Robinson? No, it's from, oh my God, SNL. Yeah, so it's a cool game, but oh my God, the amount of rules that they have is obnoxious, which is funny because we eventually, the olds versus the youths, the olds ended up playing a game called Busch Lit. And I thought this game was just world renowned. And apparently my friend and his friend invented it. They created it and they haven't really shared it with the world because neither of them are really on social media or anything like that. The two of them play it. And like I got to play it. And so I assumed, oh, like this is a game that everyone should play because it's awesome. So the beer die game, I was standing there watching them for a full game. They told me a new rule every minute for as long as the game went. That's how many fucking rules this game has. And I was like, no one's going to remember all these rules. If you sink it in your own cup, you got to call your father to tell him you're gay, which happened. And I was like, that's going to be a little tough for me. I don't know if they have phones in heaven, but we'll give it a shot. And so if you need to throw the dice, that's where the die comes from. It's not like die, beer, die. It's like, no, beer, die, like as in dice. So you throw the dice up and you have to throw it a certain height. Like you have to throw it more than the length of the table. So if the table is 5 feet long, you got to throw it at least 5 feet high. And it's got to land on this other half of the table. And you're hoping that the other team won't catch it before it hits the ground. If it bounces and hits the ground, your team gets a point. If they catch it, no points. If you overthrow the table and don't hit the table, they can then kick it into the air to their friend and they can catch it and they get points. You can throw the die on the other half of the table, and if it bounces back through your cups, because there are 2 cups on the end of the table, that's a field goal, but the field goal is only worth 2 points because that makes sense. I was just like, oh, can we just play beer pong? Too many rules. But it was fun to watch, and it's intense. Like you can't catch the die over the table. You have to make sure it's off the table when you catch it. And you can only use one hand to catch it, and you have to use the same hand to catch it. You can't bobble it between hands. You also can't use your body to catch it. You can't catch it against your body, but you can bounce it off your body. I don't know, dude. Insane amount of rules. And then they saw that we were playing wiffle ball, and they're like, let's play wiffle ball. And then my friend was like, let's play Busch Lit. And Busch Lit only really has one rule. It's drink. Like, there are no points. It's just drink. Literally, so it's a wiffle ball game. So you have a pitcher, your batter, you have fielders. And if we throw a strike, you drink. If we throw a ball, we drink. If we throw a ball, we drink. If you hit the ball and get out, you drink. If you hit the ball and we don't get you out, we drink. And the youngins couldn't wrap their heads around it. They were just like, wait, so what's the score? And it's like, whatever you want it to be. We're like, wait, so was that a single or double? And we're like, sure, it could be a double if you want. It's like they couldn't, like the complete opposite of beer die, where it's just, guys, I don't think you're getting it. We're just it's just drink. You just drink. Every time something happens, drink. And then, well, how do we know when to switch? And it's like, do you still have beer left in your can? Yeah. Well, not yet. It's like, once you get to the end of that can, then we'll switch. It's like, and they're just like, we need more rules. We need way more rules. Who wins? And I was just like, we all win. It was like that scene from Family Guy, like first season, 1999, like this season before they got canceled, where they're like, let's play a game. And he's like, okay, what do you want to play? And he's like, drink the beer. And he's like, how do you play? And he's like, you drink the beer. How do you win? We all win. But yeah, I that was enjoyable. That was like that's like the perfect day for me. Outside at a place that's not necessarily public, right? Kind of your territory. You don't have to worry about pissing off strangers or getting someone's way or not abiding by some stupid rule or blah blah. Because like you go to the beach, you got to haul that shit to the beach, and then you're kind of confined to your area and your space, and like you could, I guess, break out a game, but then you got to worry about kids walking by or hitting someone with the frisbee or like pegging a kid with the football or like getting your eye poked up by a seagull. I don't know. But here it's like 100 yards of just open grass, and you can throw a football, you can play wiffle ball, beer die. I mean, I was dead set on like trying to get a beer Olympics going. I was like, we need to have a beer Olympics here. This is absurd that you have all this space and you can't do that because this is like prime territory. I mean, just like a full day of drinking games while getting sun. Don't get no better than that. Yeah, so that was Saturday, and then we managed to somehow shower and get dressed and go to a restaurant called The Oar. And I don't know if you've tried The Oar, if you're ever familiar with The Oar on Block Island, but it is one of those restaurants which is originally we had a reservation at some fancy restaurant. I was like, you're out of your mind. We're like, we're torched. That's not our element right now. Our element is like a beach bar / restaurant, like a bar and grill, where it's like there are locals at the bar and there's baseball, the Sox on the TV, which by the way, the Red Sox, holy fuck, dude. Holy shit. The one night, it was maybe Friday night, where they lost like 27-3, and it still wasn't the most runs surrendered in a game, which I thought was bananas. It was actually 36 runs was the highest. I was like, okay, all right. But I mean, so what? The Mets, the year that they went to the World Series, I think they gave it. They lost one game 23-5 or something like that. So, and they got no hit that season by Scherzer, I believe. So, whatever. It's a long ass season, dude. So we went to the Oar, and I decided to wear my Christmas outfit. So I wore the green collared shirt with the red shorts, and no one else participated in this except me, which was sad because I said, this is the agenda. It's going to be Christmas in July. So be it. I have spoken. It is so writ. And no one else decided to partake in that. It was just like, nope, you're an idiot. You're a fool. That turns out that's just at a bar, and we're not going to that bar. And I was like, oh, God damn it. And like the cab driver could not wrap his head around it, which is ironic because he looked like fucking Saint Nick, dude. He looked like Santa Claus. And I was like, Merry Christmas. And he must have thought I was making fun of him. And he didn't get that it was like Christmas in July and I'm wearing green and red. And like, that's what I'm celebrating that. I'm not poking fun at you. And he was like, what? Like Christmas isn't until December. I was just like, oh my God, dude, Christmas in July. And then it wasn't until we got to the Oar and we got out that he was like, there's a Christmas in July type thing. And I was just like, oh, you think? But again, mudslides, way too many mudslides at this place. I don't know that they're as big or as good as they are at Champlin's, but I dig it. I dug it a little too much. And like espresso floater. Whoa. There was like a peanut butter whiskey floater at one point. I was just like, what the fuck? Favorite part of that dinner was probably, we had a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people at the dinner table. They put us in the corner, which is nice. But we somehow, I don't know how the first one got started, but every once in a while we get a clap going, It's like, I think the first one was the youngin', my friend's cousin. He had mentioned like some kind of achievement, like I think I'm gonna blah blah blah, or I'm gonna do this, and then we kind of just started clapping for it, and then we got in sync, and then all of a sudden it was like, I think if we do this loud enough and long enough, I know it sounds obnoxious as fuck. Believe me, I know it sounds obnoxious, and if I were there and I was watching it, I'd be like, this. But I'd eventually join in, and people did. We got almost every table on that damn deck clapping in unison for something that they had zero idea. We could have been clapping for the overturning of Roe versus Wade. Like they had no idea, but they got in on it, and I'm so happy they did. And it wasn't just once. I mean, we must have done it 3 or 4 times. But it was like, I like how we played it, because like you can really kill a joke or something good, and believe me, the internet has done that ad nauseum for the past decade, where it's like, it's memes have basically become that, where it's just like it gets beaten to death in the first hour, and by hour 2 you're like, okay, no more, thanks, no more. quit, exit. But we spaced it out. Very nice. Cause we had to be there. It felt like we were there for 5 hours, 4 hours. So we got probably a good 3 to 4 good claps in. So it's like 1 an hour. It's a good rate. There's probably some turnover in the tables. There's a new table like, what is this? And they join in. But of course I had to, I got asthma at the table. That's a surefire sign that's like my body being like, hey bozo, you're being a real jabroni and you haven't had your water. So you might want to mix in an H2O. And so I did, and it finally subsided. But then you get too excited and you start, your body coordination, hand-eye coordination is not just there. So I ended up tipping over a full mudslide into my lap. And it looked like I pissed myself and drooled on myself. The circle of life. It's a callback, y'all. I started it with a little spill on the Peen, and then I ended it with a spill on the Peen. So suffice to say that the youngins were not open to bringing the old fuck with them. Even though I'm in the same fraternity as them. We're all true gentlemen. They were like, no, you have fun at home. There's like a capacity at the house party we're going to. Like what? There's a age limit. But went back to the house. I threw on my Christmas pajamas because when I go in on something, I go all in. I fully commit. Marriage, I fully committed. All right, that's enough. So that's this week's episode. I hope you liked it. As always, feedback is appreciated. I love you. Back to you. It's, how I'll end on this. I'm one of the biggest hypocrites in the world. We're all hypocrites, but I might be the biggest one in the world because I was said to myself, I'm done with dating. I never want to date ever again. I have no interest in women whatsoever. And then I went on that frickin' beach, and every single woman had a frickin' thong on. And I was like, maybe I need to date. Maybe there's more to this life. I can't just be creeping all the time and staring and gawking and looking. I need to participate. There's too much thong action to be going on out there for me to just sit on the sidelines. So I joined just about every damn dating app known to man on Sunday. Dear God. And I tell you, it's intense. I'm not prepared for it at all. I have no idea how to play the game. Like Triple H, it's time to play the game. Nope, I don't know how to play the game. And but like, no rush, right? I'm in no rush. So I'm just gonna take it sleazy and see how it goes. But there's like, each platform has some kind of different thing to it. That's like Hinge. I can't just like the person. I have to like something on their profile. And in addition to just liking it, I feel compelled to, I guess I don't have to write something, but I thought I did. And so I get in my own head, I overthink it, and then I write something creepy or stupid or goofy. And then it's just like, oh, well, that's an automatic no match. Bumble seems like it might be good for me, just because it's like the woman has to make the first move. Like that, I've found that, like, I'm just never going to make the first move. So let's you do it. If you're confident and strong-willed and know what you want, and you want me, which is crazy, and that's the move there. I'm not gonna be able to make the first move ever. And the pricing, and I know I have like such heated internal debates with myself about this, because it's like, there was eHarmony was offering something like, oh, half off until midnight. We're offering this only until midnight, half off. And I was like, whoa, when do you ever get half off? So then I look what the pricing is, and it's like, the most popular plan is a year plan, 12 months, and you get half off the first like 3 months. And then it's like $70 a month. What the fuck are you talking about? So part of me is like, well, if I'm ever going to invest in myself, this is it, right? Because like, this is what I should be investing in myself with. I should be investing in a relationship. I should be investing in my health, and part of being healthy is not being alone, I guess. So like, I got to invest myself. But at the same time, I was like, but what if I meet someone in month 1 and we like date? I guess it's worth it. I don't know. Oh my God. Overthinking the fudge out of it. So yeah, I'm still sore. I feel like I got hit by a truck, and I have not gotten any sleep the past 2 nights. It doesn't look like I'm getting much sleep tonight. Like the night I got home, I got home after midnight. I was up till 2:30 watching Solar Opposites on Hulu, or maybe it was Always Sunny. I can't remember. I was just like, couldn't turn my mind off. And then last night I tried to put together a new office chair, which if this video goes live, you can see the new office chair full effect. And then I got the new desk, and the company on the instruction manual said 90 minutes to put together, and it took me 2 days. So, and I broke half the shit. Used the wrong screws. I can't believe I can't follow instructions. I feel like I feel like I just take a mental, like I unpack everything and I take a mental snapshot, and I'm like, I got this. And then I don't pay attention because they have multiple items that look like each other. Like there's these bigger wooden pegs and there's these little wooden pegs. They're not that much size difference, so they look the same. So I'm like, that's weird that they gave me 2 packages instead of just one. Well, it's because they're 2 different things, you fuckface. And then it's like the screw, okay, so you got the screw, and then you have to put the washer thing over the screw to tighten it, the screw tightener, and those look the same. But it's like, if you look closer and pay attention, you stupid bitch, you would see that one's like a little bit curved on the end and one's flat. And this one has an arrow and it has a plus and minus, and this one doesn't. But you didn't. So now you got to undo the 90 minutes of work you just did, and then you have to do it all over again. So I was up till like 2 a.m. I didn't finish it until tonight, and it took me another hour to finish it tonight. Great. But we're moving on up to the east side. I don't know. New sheets, new office, new desk, new dating profile. I look like such an old man in my dating profile. And the matches that they were showing me, the one, I forget what app it is. It's either Hinge or Tinder or something like that. But it's like every girl was just like, am I getting catfished? Like, what the fuck's going on here? Every girl's hot. Every girl does yoga. Every girl travels. Every girl's in a brunch. What? Every girl's in fashion. Every girl knows how to dress well and is tan and is like blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm out of my league. And then I went on like eHarmony. I'm like, feeling pretty good about myself. All right, that's and I'm a giant dick. So that's this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Adios, muchachos.